Well, the money tallies are in, guys, and guess which presidential candidate raised the most money from July to September? Drum roll. Hillary Clinton. She raised $30 million. But on the GOP side, not too bad. Ben Carson, he tops the list, raising nearly $21 million. Jeb Bush at $13 million. And Ted Cruz surprised a lot of people at $12 million. Carly Fiorina, $6.8 million. Edges out Marco Rubio at $5.7 million. By the way, remember how Donald Trump said he was funding his own campaign? Well, guess what? He actually did receive $3.9 million in unsolicited donations last quarter. So what does the tally tell us and how they got it, how they spent it? Joining me now, Ebony Williams, criminal defense attorney and Fox News contributor, Hillary Kramer, A&G Capital president and CIO, Peter Marisi, University of Maryland economist, and Eric Erickson, RedState.com editor and a Fox News contributor. Eric, I finish with you. I'll start with you. It's one thing to take in the money. Some of these guys and gals spent a lot of money to get it, and also some of them are burning through it a lot. What's the narrative that you read from it?
Well, I think the burn rate at this point is extremely important because we're drawing to the point of the elections in February. You've got to remember, Mitt Romney's burn rate in 2012 wound up being $3 spent for every dollar raised. It became unbearable for his campaign. Right now, the most interesting number to me is the cash on hand. Ted Cruz leads that number among the Republicans, followed by Ben Carson, followed by Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio. I think Ted Cruz looks like he's in a very good position, unlike guys like Christie who have $1 million cash on hand and Rand Paul who spent $2 for every dollar he raised. Yeah,
you know, Peter Marisi, as an economist, I'm sure that's what you want to look at, right? Because if you can't manage your presidential campaign, you certainly can't manage the finances of the government. Just a case in point, we're talking burn rate. We're talking about what people spend versus what they took in. Last quarter, Rick Perry, his burn rate was 392%. So you understood why he dropped out so quickly. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, the burn rate can be high simply because they're not raising a lot of money like Lincoln Chafee. I am very impressed by the numbers that Ben Carson has. Look, he's raised $21 million compared to Clinton's $29. He's an amateur at the game compared to her, where she's been campaigning for the last 8 years, and he hasn't burned a very large percentage of it. I think he stands very well in the polls. He beats her in head-to-head competition in polls. I think this is a very strong performance and very indicative that this guy, as an amateur, is a darn serious contender.
You know, Ebony, and to that point, Ben Carson spent a lot of money to raise a lot of money, but all of those donors were so small, none of them are near
right
where they have to be with respect to their max. So none of them have been maxed out. As he keeps bumping along in the polls, he can continue to go to these folks over and over again. But
Barack Obama.
Right, you're right. Yep. Okay, and here's the thing, Ebony. I'm worried, though, about Chris Christie. If I'm in a campaign right now, I'm worried about Chris Christie, and believe it or not, I really believe that Jeb Bush is in trouble. From what I understand, he was supposed to raise $25 million. He got about half of that. I don't see his big donor stepping up to the plate. I think this next debate is do or die for him.
Yeah, Charles. I mean, Jeb Bush has been underperforming throughout in terms of finances, in terms of his performance in debates. This is going to be do or die. I agree with you for that. Look, a lot of people are saying Ted Cruz could be the dark horse on the GOP side. He's acting like a dark horse. He's being the best steward of his money. He bought in $12 million. Hasn't even spent $7. So I'm very impressed with that. Hillary Clinton spending a lot, raising a lot. She's got to do that, Charles, because she's getting a lot of free publicity, but it's all negative.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Hillary, we crunch numbers all the time. What do you make of the way this has rolled out? First of all, it's a lot of money this early in the campaign, but where it's going and how it's going there does mean something.
Well, this is so similar. I mean, I can make a complete analogy to how businesses operate, right? The bigger get bigger and the smaller end up with this high burn rate. I mean, we're seeing what's going on here. And you have like Rand Paul, for example. They're just burning through so much money because there's a basic necessity that it costs each of these candidates to operate their business and have that staff.
Although, Eric, I got to tell you something. We know that Donald Trump didn't have to raise a lot of money. He didn't spend a lot of money because he's getting a ton of free advertising. The money that came into him, close to $4 million, should he consider returning that money since he's more or less pledged not to accept any?
You know, if he wants to, he can. I don't have a problem with it. Looking at the numbers that Donald Trump has raised, to his credit, like Ted Cruz and Ben Carson, a lot of it is small dollar donations in high volume. And I think that speaks very credibly to Trump, the fact that he isn't a bought and paid for candidate. He is a candidate of the people.